30 minutes, 10 questions. Welcome to the Millionaires Hot Seat, where we put the pressure on millionaires to get their best kept secrets, strategies, and insights to building a million and oftentimes multi-million-dollar business. My name is Melissa Krivachek. For the next 30 minutes, you'll want to take notes so you can have more clients, more money, and more love, success, and happiness. My guest today is the one and only Grant Cardone. Grant, are you ready to take the hot seat?
Well, I hope you don't put too much pressure on me, okay? Because I really perform better when the more pressure on me.
Oh, well, good, because there's only 10 questions, but they're pretty avid. So we all know mindset is the number one key to making millions. How do you keep your mind sharp, focused, and in the right space besides eating bacon and eggs?
Well, yeah, she just watched me open this thing with 3 bites of protein. You know, I think, look, here for me, the first step in becoming a millionaire or becoming poor is you know, the person actually makes the decision to do that. Mm-hmm. You know, poor people. Bill Gates said poor people are, you know, if you're born poor, that's one thing. If you stay poor, that's another thing. Shame on you. And I know that I was brought up lower middle class. I mean, I didn't know we were poor, and we really weren't poor because we had things. We had clothes and food and electricity. We had so many things that probably a third of planet Earth doesn't have every day. Yeah. But the fact is, we didn't have enough not to be worried all the time. So we were affluent in fear. You know, we were prospering in fear and short on everything else. So there was never enough bandwidth. We were always managing. Imagine having to manage your internet. Like, oh my God, I can't bring on another viewer because I only have this much bandwidth. Well, you can't grow like that. I remember the first webcast that we did here. We had, I don't know what the number was. I mean, more people than we could actually support in our bandwidth.
I remember that.
Yeah, so we ended up, you know, I've always wanted to crash the internet, right? Well, I didn't crash the internet, but I did crash my own webcast because we weren't prepared for enough bandwidth. Well, the same thing is true for money. Number one, you got to make a decision. How much bandwidth do you want with money? Mm-hmm. Most people actually make a decision to just have enough, and they don't prepare for all the problems that come along. You know, and all the things you don't budget for, all the things you don't plan for. Budgets don't work, okay? They just don't work. I can prove that a budget doesn't work. I can literally go through your office and show you 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 or 10 things. Probably half your office was not on your budget. You just don't plan.
Well, my office in and of itself wasn't on my budget.
Yeah,
it was 5 times more expensive than what I anticipated spending.
Right. So the first decision is, hey, dude, I want to get rich, okay? Make the decision. I want to be poor or I want to be rich, because there's no decision to be made in between. Now, a lot of people argue with me about this. There's no way this will be 30 minutes, by the way. There's no way. There's no way. I mean, because see, the place in between is where most people get stuck. Most people are not poor and most people are not rich. Most people are stuck in between, and they lie to themselves. Man, I'm doing so good. I'm doing better than everybody else, you know. I'm doing better than my friend that's in poverty. But the reality is you're only doing well because the government and books and the media, pundits and education told you the middle is all right. The middle is not all right unless you're like geese, you know. If you're a goose in Louisiana and it's winter, you want to be in the middle. All right. But otherwise you want to be out front. You don't want to be at the back, and you want to be out front. I mean, the big players, the people that have the thing you talked about, time, real wealth, not money. I'm not talking about money, real wealth. Problems happen in the economy and they continue to be prosperous. They always have friends. They always have support mechanisms. When emergency happens, they have solutions and choices. That's the kind of wealth I'm talking about, not just money. So number one, you got to make a decision to get on this side of the band, wealthy, rich. And number two, then you got to start fixing this, you know. And this is what you brought up, is the mindset. Like how do I even, you're not going to make the right decision if you're mentally brought up poor or middle class the way I was. So the first thing you'd have to do to have the right mindset is you'd have to lose your mind. You'd have to literally have to lose it. I grew up in a
town of 300, so I totally understand. Like, there's only one way out. You got to think, get rid of everything you ever knew and start over.
That's right.
So, all right, when your mind wanders off, how do you refrain to get back on track? I mean, I know you don't think you have crappy days, but what if grandma dies?
No. I do have crappy days. I go back to old thinking. You know, I got these shoes on this morning. What are these, Pradas? Yeah, these are Pradas, dude. They're $585. Okay, I'm like, this is ridiculous. And when I'm looking at the shoes, my wife wanted me to get these shoes, right? I'm like, well, they do feel good though, and they do kind of look good, right? And then I'm thinking to myself, why are you worried about $585, Grant? You know? Oh, because I could buy that shoe or something like it for $140 or find one on sale for $89 or whatever. But the reality is, see, I'm off track now because I'm not going for $585 in my life. I want to become a billionaire in my lifetime. I want to hit the $1 billion. I want to kill a bill, right? So what am I worried about $500 for or 50 grand? Because that's not going to stop me. Now, this goes back to this trap about the middle class. See, most of us are brought up to believe the way to have money is to save it. Mm-hmm. You don't want to waste it. Clearly, you want to pay attention to it. You want to use it on the right things. But I'm in a position in my life where literally I couldn't buy enough Prada shoes to destroy what I've created. So at some point you pay the price. I mean, your question's about reframing, you know, how do I get refocused? If you're trying to get to this end of the spectrum, you can't save your way there. Okay. It's just impossible. So I think one thing I do is I write my goals down every morning. I write them down in the morning, I write them down at night, and I write them down when I fail. And I fail a lot. Okay. I'm disappointed constantly. I'm discouraged all the time. I'm going through 3 days of monster discouragement right now. And so what I do is I'm like, when I'm in that, I'm like, okay, I get a piece of paper out. I always keep a tablet around me and I start writing. Okay. What is it? The first thing on this day timer right here, write your goals down. So most important thing to me every day, it's not my to-do list. It's not my battle plan. It's not who I'm going to call. It's like, what are my goals? Where am I going? What is it I want to do? Because that gets me out of now and into the future. And by the way, the now, if you're discouraged, is really the past. Okay, because you're not in the present if you're discouraged. Where I really want to be, though, is in the future. I always want to be creating a future for me and my household and those around me.
That's awesome. I love it. You know, I just had a conversation last night with my brother and I was like, dude, I'm in this spot. Like, it's go up to 40 million a year and I know how to do that. The game plan is in place. I've got the team, or stay here, which I'm very comfortable. And he's like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, you got to make a decision and you better make it tonight. So make that phone call. So I got on the road and I made a phone call because I was like, look, this is dumb.
Yeah, right.
So, all right, how often do you listen to your inner voice and how accurate has that been when it comes to making decisions?
Well, to my inner voice?
Yeah, like the Grant that is constantly telling you what to do or what not to do.
Man, I don't ever listen to, I don't, I'm into action. I'm taking action all the time. So, I don't spend a lot of time. I did at one time in my life, I did a lot of therapy. So there was all this inner voice, inner child, what's going on inside. Dude, it's all garbage. Okay. There's absolutely no validation anywhere on planet Earth that any of that psychological stuff ever helped even one person. Okay. So I would tell you guys, I would tell everybody, disregard all this inner child, blah, blah, blah. Dude, it's like, come on, man. Let's just go freaking create what you want. All the great people on this planet, they were not talking about their problems. They were talking about how to solve other people's problems. They're literally outside of themselves. Hey, how do I develop a car that runs on electricity rather than gas? How do we build railroads so that people can transport products across the country, right? How do we do things like how do we go to the moon? Like people need to quit being so selfish. You know, being poor is actually selfish. Being middle class is selfish. Being comfortable is selfish. These are all things people try to protect themselves. Not willing to fire somebody is a selfish act. A guy told me last night, I got a bunch of underperformers. You know, what do I do with them? I'm like, dude, you fire them. He's like, oh, I feel bad for them. I'm like, you're selfish. You don't feel bad for them. You feel bad for you, dude. That makes you a guy that can't lead. The whole inner child, inner voice stuff is very selfish and self-centered. What are you even doing listening to yourself? Why don't you listen to the public? Listen to what people need. Listen to what they want. If you want to become a billionaire, help a billion people, and you'll become a billionaire 10 times. Mm-hmm. But you can't help a billion people or millions of people. You cannot do that if you're constantly thinking about yourself. I'll give you an example. Steve Jobs, for the first 30 years he was at Apple, he was thinking about himself, and that's why Apple suffered. He was committed to Apple being the best product, looking a certain way, to delivering his software on his hardware. He was extremely selfish. And then one day when he came back after he got fired, he says, hey, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get a product to everyone they can use from whatever device they want. He got unhooked from his hardware, his idea.
Yeah.
And then now you have iTunes. I mean, you're getting ready to have music come out on Apple, $9 a month. Any music that you want. He's getting paid 30 points on all that. So, like, when you become unselfish, quit thinking about yourself and, oh my God, I'm hurt, and oh my God, I got this problem, and oh my God, I'm overweight, and oh my God, I got a drinking problem. Man, quit thinking about yourself. Start thinking about other people, and you might find your problems are not as big as the opportunities that surround you.
Well, they say more money, more problems. I don't believe that. I think more money, more opportunity.
That's right.
All right, so we've all heard your network is your net worth. How do you choose your inner circle? Like, what qualities or characteristics are you looking to bring into that inner clique that you have?
You know, I'm looking to reach up all the time. I'm looking to reach up to new people, to new circles, to new affiliates, to people that can actually help me expand my brand. So, and this is very difficult. One of the hardest things I've done in my life is to expand my network. Because immediately what happens is people tend to feel a little bit of competition. Like people actually seem to be like almost resistant to collaboration. And things seem very competitive. Again, we're back to this middle class mindset. The middle class is based on competition. The guys at the top of the food chain, they're not competing. They dominate their space. People want to come into them. They want to hang out with them. They want to collaborate. So, look, it's very important. I mean, it's probably easier and harder today to build your network because of social media. It's easier because you can have access to me on Snapchat all day long. It's also harder today. It's more difficult to do today because anybody can do that, right? So you can get hit with too much garbage, lots of pretenders, okay? Yeah. Lots of frauds, complete frauds, lots of crookedness. I mean, all that, the good and the bad and the ugly are all available today. So I would just tell people, look, if you want to build your network, find 3 people that you want to follow. Find 3 people that have validated themselves in every area of their life, not just in business. You know? But every area, not just a guy that's great at money or good at Instagram and photos of Lamborghinis. Like, where's the rest of the story, bro? I mean, unless that's what you want to be. If you want to be the playboy or the playgirl, you know, good. But if you want, then model that guy, okay? If you want to be the guy that rips people off and you know, doesn't clean up his deal, then follow that guy. But if you're an ethical person that is in it for the long play, not just for the money, but you want to actually help people, that you want to have a legacy, because nobody's going to remember me because of the money I made.
No.
The day I die, Melissa won't be, boy, he made a lot of money, didn't he? No, hopefully they're going to say, dude, that guy helped a lot of people. So, you know, one, I'm trying to expand my network to other languages. I need lots of people in order to meet the good ones.
You do, yes, 100%.
So I'm trying to expand my network that way to help people, but I also am trying to expand my network to get help. You know.
Well, what 3 characteristics are like your top 3 characteristics that you look for in partnerships or people that you joint venture with?
Well, I look for people that think similar to the way I think. Actually, now I know a lot of people are going to disagree with this, but
I don't care.
like. You know, I'm not big on concepts. I'm big on, okay, how do we make this work quickly? So number 1, I'm looking for speed, because speed to me suggests certainty and it suggests simple. I don't like things that take a long time to do. I think they're too complex. Like, I don't invest in things I don't understand. So I'm looking for, number one, speed and simplicity is very, very important to me. Number two, I'm looking for ethics. I'm looking for somebody highly ethical. If I can't find you online, I know you're hiding something. Mm-hmm. If I can't find you online, you're hiding under the radar. You're hiding something. Okay, there's no reason that I shouldn't be able to see your whole life. And number three, I'm looking for people that both want to monetize but want to be generous. See, money's important to me. Okay, so when a guy says to me, I don't need to monetize right now, well, he's got a different play. Maybe he's got a different play, and that's good for him. Good. It's not good or bad, but I need to monetize now, because if I can't fund my people, if I can't fund my family, I'm going to be back into a new I'm going to be back into a little problem. I can't pay my bills. Yeah. So, and I don't want to go raise money right now. I don't want to go to Wall Street and raise money, and then, because that's just another form of me having to work for somebody else. So I think the three things is, speed and simplicity is number one. Number two is I need people to be ethical. And if you're ethical, hey man, show me your lawsuits. Show me the bills to your lawyers. I want to see how many lawyers you have on staff. Well, you got 60 lawyers on staff. If you paid $600,000 in legal fees last year, unless you're Donald Trump, I mean, why? Why are you paying so many people? That's a problem for me. If you're litigious, I don't want to do anything. I don't want to have anything to do with you.
Yeah. That's
okay. Because it's got to be ethical for me, not you, right, Melissa? Like your ethics might be different than mine.
Correct. Yeah.
If I meet a cannibal in South America, we don't eat people here. But if I don't have all the data about that cannibal over in South America or wherever they are, if I don't have all the data, the guy crashed into a mountain, there was 26 people, it was down to the last 4, 2 of them were sick, and the only way they could live was to eat the other 2. Well, I need all the data, right? Because that might have been the ethical thing to do. I don't know. And the third thing I said was, look, there needs to be monetization in the program. There has to be money.
Yeah. I agree with you. I think money is important, but I also think impact is more important.
But you're not going to impact if you don't have money.
That's correct.
Okay. If Mother Teresa would have had 100 times the funding, she would have helped millions of more people.
Mm-hmm. But she chose that lifestyle. I mean, everybody chooses their own lifestyle.
Okay.
A mastermind of similar people is significant. How often do you meet with your inner circle, and what do you discuss? Do you keep a business, or do you go into like health, sex, relationships, all kinds of other stuff?
No, I really stay out of people's sex life.
Okay.
No, dude, I work. I just work all the time. Okay. I don't sit down and have, my group meets. We're like, hey, these are our targets. This is what has to happen. Move the stuff out of the way, the obstacles that are in the way. Like, this isn't it's not very, what's the word? I don't know what the word is, but it's like, like it's hard. It's something simple to do. It's like, hey, where are we going? Where do we want to go? Right. So if I had a meeting with Warren Buffett, there'd be some specific ideas. I definitely wouldn't be asking about his sex life, because he's not having any sex. I would want to ask Warren Buffett, hey, dude, look, I'm looking like right now, I think there's going to be a massive disruption economically in retail stores, malls, real estate. I think there's going to be a bunch of real estate projects that don't finish. And I'm looking at, hey, how could I get on the debt side of this? That's what I'd want to ask Warren. Very specific. Mm-hmm. Like how could I make $1 billion play with a couple $100 million? Providing debt and take over $1 billion worth of property. But I'm carnivorous. Carnivorous. What is it? I'm a predator. I'll tell you right now, I'm a predator. I am a predator so that I can take care of my family, though. See, I have a reason to do it. I want to take care of my family, take care of my dreams, take care of my people, take care of my employees. Somebody's got to be willing to pull a trigger. Everybody's running around, la, 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 everything's fine. Dude, who's going to protect you when the shit hits the fan?
You got to protect yourself. Totally agree.
Mm-hmm.
The more you hang around successful people, the more successul you become. What kind of habits do you have in place on a daily basis that you do?
I try to work out every day. I definitely do my goal. I write my goals down. I do drink water. I'm actually trying to drink 12 of these today. I don't think I'll make it. I don't know why it's so hard for me to drink water. It's unbelievable. The easiest things can be so difficult to do. I don't know why.
I actually had a very difficult problem drinking water, but now I do 7.5 liters a day religiously. So got to practice.
Yeah, I think it's just about building habits, right? I spend time with my kids every day. Every day, my kids are part of my successful circle. And played backgammon with my 6-year-old last night. Beat her, killed her, just destroyed her. Then I played some fish with her, beat her at that too. And then my wife is an unbelievable support for me. Also, I do a tremendous amount of training annually. Every year, I take probably 60 days and go off and spend time on myself, learning, kind of pulled back away from just doing business every day to replenish me and who I am and what I'm capable of.
Okay. Do you have any other habits you do throughout the day? Water, workout, work. That's what I got.
Yeah, water, workout, work. I like it, the 3 W's.
All right. So money and fulfillment are things ultimately everyone wants. They're also things that make businesses thrive. But what drives you? I mean, you don't need money and you don't need to do what you're doing, but you're doing it for a purpose. What's that purpose?
Yeah, I mean, my potential, the thing that gnaws at me constantly is I know I can do more.
Mm-hmm.
And if I talk to my, when my mom was alive, she's like, "Oh, you've done so much, you've done so well." Well, I'm like, she's thinking about what I've done. I'm thinking about what I can do. So,
yeah.
So anybody that admires another person, you're admiring them based on what they've done. See, only the guy or the gal knows what they can do. Robert knows what he's capable of. He knows you can't. I think this is why people use drugs and alcohol so much,
Mm-hmm.
and they're trying to literally like tap off this gnawing, this God or whatever, this thing inside. This is the inner voice I'm interested in, dude. The one that's saying, "Hey, bro, you can do more. Okay, let's roll, dude. Let's go do something big." I think people have shut that thing down, drowned it out, drugged it out, numbed it out. I mean, person gets a headache, the first thing they do is go for the medicine cabinet.
Mm-hmm.
They get a little anxious. First thing they do is go buy some drugs they go see a doctor. So it's like, potential drives me more than anything. And the more aware, the more awake, and awake I am, the more I am moving toward a grant potential. And the less I have to listen to all the doubt and uncertainty. What I do is I listen to this thing that's about, "Hey, come over here. You could do this. You could build a television network." I move towards a lot of my complaints and criticisms. I move towards those areas, things that bug me out.
Okay. How do you avoid or overcome fear, self-sabotage, and procrastination?
Well, I move toward my fear.
Mm-hmm.
I've gotten rid of the part of my mind that self-sabotages. It's called the reactive mind, by the way. Everybody has one. Just got to get rid of it. You can get rid of it, by the way. I got rid of mine. I used to self-sabotage all the time. Okay, at 45 years old, I was introduced to technology, showed me how to literally get rid of this self-sabotaging. And on the procrastination part, look, procrastination is a fancy word for you just ain't doing anything. It's just a fancy word for you figuring out how not to take action. So the perfectionist suffers from this lie they tell themselves. They call themselves a perfectionist. I'm a perfectionist. You do. You're a liar. Okay, that's what you are. You're lying to yourself. I'm creating this monster playbook to millions course. I wrote a book last week in 2 hours called the Millionaire Booklet. Okay, I did both of these in a period of a week. So we've been through the Millionaire Booklet. It's only 44 pages long. It's 8 steps. It teaches people in 8 steps how to be a millionaire. Can you show me the little booklet? Grab the little booklet. I might have it right here. Yeah, I might. And Oh, yeah. We sent it to an editor. I paid the editor. I read it yesterday. I read it, put it on the audio. Now, keep in mind, I wrote this in 2 hours. Mm-hmm. I went to a charity event. We needed to raise $2 million at the charity event. I looked around the room. I'm like, man, there's no way we're going to raise $2 million here. Just the money wasn't in the room. Uh-huh. We raised $400,000. Like 50 people raised $400,000. Oh, I said that's good. Okay, then 4 families put up $500,000, and we were still $1 million away. And one guy does the $1 million. Okay, and everybody's looking around. Everybody wanted to be the last guy that did the $1 million. Mm-hmm. And I came home that night and I told my wife, I said, I'm going to write a book on how to become a millionaire. Uh-huh. I wrote this in 2 hours. We went to the editor, paid the editor. Editor cleaned it up in a day. I read it yesterday on audio, so I'm creating an audio program to go with it. We still haven't released the booklet. There's a story here, by the way. And I'm reading it, I'm like, oh my God, there's still typos in the deal, right? Uh-huh. So my guys are like, what do we do? Go to print, dude, go to print. See,
I did that too.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I can't wait for it to be perfect. I'm going to do everything I can to make it as good as I can. But look, I need to get to market with products. So we finish this. We go to print this week. We're also going to go to print with this. This is going to be an 800-page course book on how to become a millionaire. It's a playbook from how to think, how to act, how to talk, build a plan. Okay, how do I actually follow revenue? How do I collect it? How do I keep it? How do I multiply it? Is it going to be perfect? I don't know if it's going to be perfect or not. I know it's going to be better than anything you learned at Harvard or Yale. So that's what I tell myself when I procrastinate or get stuck in this idea of perfection.
Yeah, you know what? I heard you years ago say, like, you know, my first book has become a New York Times bestseller, and I don't care if there's typos or anything. So I did the same with all of my books. I was like, you know what? I don't care. Get it out. We'll fix it, and we can reprint it. If somebody has an issue, they can ask me for another book.
Exactly.
So I've never had that happen, but it is how I roll. How much of your life is outsourced, and what do you consider to be your zone of genius?
Well, we don't outsource a lot, actually. You know, we'll outsource the printing. I'll outsource, T-shirts that we do, or merchandise or stuff. Our online platform is outsourced by a group out of Vegas that's a partner of mine. Called Lightspeed. So he provides an unbelievable technology for our university to sit on.
Brad is amazing.
Yeah. So how much of my life is outsourced? I mean, I have a lot of help around me. I have a lot of support, a lot of help. My wife's learning how to shoot guns right now, and handguns, and some that's outsourced. I fly a plane. I have a plane. I don't fly the plane. We outsource it to pilots. We outsource the management. I outsource my 4,000 apartments are outsourced to a management company. So I guess there is a lot of stuff that is outsourced. What do I consider my zone of genius? This is a good question, right? Like I operate in my zone. And that's what I pound on and beat on. Somebody asked me to go to this event recently. I'm like, I'm not going to go. And they're like, what, are you busy? I said, no, I'm not going to go, dude. It's not my deal. Mm-hmm. Sounds like it'd be a lot of fun. Sounds like it would be great. I know you guys would want to have me there. I'm not going. It's not my zone. So that could exclude me from a lot of opportunity by doing that. But like I only have so much time, right? So, and I can only create, I've only figured out how to create so much time. So, my zone is I market and I promote. I know how to market and promote products. I know how to build products that solve people's problems. If I build products that solve people's problems and then don't market and promote them, they will not have that product. So as much as I don't like to market, I actually don't like to promote, I actually don't like to sell products, I have made that part of my genius, if you will. And I think that's probably the right word. Figure out what you're a genius in and do it. And I market and I promote and I sell until I'm having fun with it. Because without the marketing, the promotion, and the selling, nobody's going to know about my products.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. What is the number one thing you would tell people to stop doing that can dramatically change and impact their life?
I would tell people, hey, if you're using drugs, stop using them.
Mm-hmm.
Even the weed, man. The weed is going to hurt you in a deal. If you go into a deal and you smoke weed this morning or even last night, and I go into a deal, we're both going into a presentation, I can only hope that you're smoking weed because I'm going to crush you. Drugs, alcohol. Look, stop doing anything you don't feel good about. Okay? If you're having to wash your hands after you did something, then you probably don't feel good about it. If you're having, you know what I mean? Wash your hands. If you're having to trying to get rid of whatever the activity was, if you're trying to get it off of you, if you're trying to cologne it off of you, if you're trying to get rid of it in your mind, if you're trying to oh man, I just want to act like if it happens in Vegas, it stays in Vegas. Wrong. It don't stay in Vegas. It freaking haunts you everywhere you go. So whatever it is you're doing in your life that you don't feel good about, dude, stop doing that. I'm not there to tell anybody what to do or not do. Maybe weed makes you feel better about yourself. I don't know. But I would stop doing anything. Procrastination. If you don't feel good about it, stop doing that. If you're overeating, stop overeating. Whatever it is. If you're not eating enough, maybe. I mean, it's different for everybody, right? So I don't know what that one thing is to stop doing. I would also suggest that people start doing. Make a list of things you need to start doing. I need to start drinking more water.
Okay. Is there anything else that you want to add? That was question number 10. So before I ask you where can people find you, I want to give you the opportunity to add anything else you want to add.
No, look, I think everybody deserves to be successful, Mm-hmm. The pursuit of happiness is important. And we should all I think we all are free to pursue the happiness thing. And I think the only thing I would add is the money thing is a huge hot button for people. Mm-hmm. Because the moment you bring it up, I mean, if you go out into public, a guy wrote me, he's like, hey, I ordered your How to Become a Millionaire booklet, right? Yeah. And I said, yeah, what happened? He's like, I told my brother I was doing that, and my brother said, dude, the only guy that's going to make any money off that deal is the guy that wrote the book. Uh-huh. So, see, people have quit on money. And by the way, politicians rely on people quitting because they want you to quit on money. It's not the corporations that want you to quit. Rich people definitely don't want you to quit. Rich people have a big problem. They don't have anybody to hang with. Rich people want other rich people to hang with.
Yes, it's true.
So, this money thing is a huge topic for people. The middle class has been sold to America. Now it's being manufactured to sell to the rest of the world that you want to be in the middle class. The last thing I would tell people is this. The last thing you want to be in is the middle class. Literally, it would almost be better if you're poor. Just go wish for poverty. Because it's just another name for poverty.
Yeah.
Because you will never own your time. You will never own your assets. You will never actually be able to have choices if you stay in the middle. Because there's not enough cushion. You want to own the field, man. You want to own the stadium. You want to own the town if you can. Because then you actually have choices. And that's really what money's about. Money's not about money. Money's about choices and about freedom.
Yeah, well, as you know, I wrote a book called Millionaires and Money, Sex, Sales, and Seduction. And people are turned off by the word millionaire and money and sex, but that's just because they're uncomfortable. And the more uncomfortable they become, the more nagging the voice inside them is. Like, dude, I got to make a change. What's the change going to be? How am I going to make the change? Dude, I don't have the resources to make the change. Well, find them.
Yeah.
Find them. All right. So where can people find you, Grant?
Wherever you are, you can find me by putting in my name, Grant Cardone.
Okay. We've made it simple. It's no longer the Twitter at Grant Cardone.
It's wherever they are, you can probably find me.
Definitely. All right. Awesome. Great. Thank you for joining me on the Millionaires Hot Seat. It's been awesome.
Thank you, Melissa.
You're very welcome. If you guys want to take the hot seat, email me at melissa@melissakravachek.com. If you want to fly out to my house, ride bulldozers, crush cars, and hang out with other millionaires, you can apply at melissakravachek.com. And of course, I recommend you pick up my latest bestseller, Millionaires and Money, Sex, Sales, and Seduction. Take what Grant said, implement it. You'll find yourself having more clients, more money, and more love, success, and happiness.